Your host, Anthony Hartcher, your joyful journey mentor. And today we're going to delve into awareness. Last session, I spoke about awareness and how people are aware of what they're really focused on and what's important to them. And so they pretty much in this deep sort of state of awareness around what's most important to them. And that's how we filter the information around us. This session is about how to become more aware, how to increase that level of awareness so that we're more understanding and we can better relate to people. Often we get too very pigeonholed and very focused in a sense that we miss a whole lot of what's going on around us and we miss cues, we miss signals. And it's the same as our body, our health, for example. We can be so tunnel vision that we lose sight of what's really going on. And we can do that in relationships too. We can be so pigeonholed or focused on a particular part of a person and miss the whole picture and miss the whole dynamic and feel that the sense of disconnection because we're so focused on one element of the relationship. So how do we get more self-aware? How do we increase that level of awareness? We essentially need to step away or step back. And I think the best way to describe this is slowing down. I recently decided to ride my bike instead of driving the car. And as I was riding along, I noticed a whole lot more than what I do if I drive the same path. Because when I'm driving, I'm going at probably up to 3 times the speed of what I can ride at. And so I miss probably 3 times as much information in that same journey. Whereas when I'm writing, I take so much more in. I'm going a lot slower. And so it just jolted me as to thinking how we chase busyness. We chase this whole thing of if I'm busy, I'm doing the norm, I'm fitting in, and I'm doing what everyone else is doing. I can better relate to people. However, we're missing so much of our awareness or level of awareness because when we're busy, we're tunnel vision. We're so focused on that outcome and we're losing a whole lot of information in the process of being so focused. And that additional information can actually be helpful, particularly in relationships when we're so pigeonholed and focused on a particular area of a person or what we don't like about them. That expands and that focus expands and we become more aware of that behavior that they're doing and we lose sight of the wholeness of that person that when we see the wholeness we can love them. Essentially, when we see one side and the side that we're judging and we judge it for not a side we don't like, then we'll often just take that away as judgment, as, yeah, well, I don't like that person. But we're missing the whole picture. And the only way we can really see the whole picture is if we slow down and start to listen and start to observe more and start to attune our senses into what's going on. And the only way we can do that is by doing things slower, having slower conversations and not forcing outcomes. When we try to force a particular agenda, we're missing a whole lot of information because we're just looking for those signs associated with the agenda we're driving. And we're missing a whole lot of signals that may be helpful in the ultimate picture, which is relating more, connecting more, communicating more effectively, more better. And but we lose sight of that because we're trying to drive an agenda or force an outcome. And in that process, we are tunnel vision and we're forcing time to collapse what we want. However, if we get into a more flow state by allowing and I guess really embracing the becoming, the transformation, then it is so much more fulfilling journey in that process. So what I guess the takeaways from this message today is really slowing down, more allowing, more becoming, and more embracing that transformation because it's the journey that people often reflect back on as the most fulfilling part of their accomplishment. And so we just don't want to arrive at the accomplishment. We want to embrace the journey and embrace it for its highs and lows. And that's often what you'll hear of the Olympic gold medalists is they will, first of all, they'll say, how does this feel? And they will reflect back on the whole journey and the ups and downs and particularly the hardships. And so often, we can go on these journeys and see the hardships as something that's a roadblock, but it's the hardships that really help us grow, help us transform, and help us on the way to achieving that goal. And ultimately, it's that what we reflect on it, overcoming that hardship is the most profound moment as opposed to the accolade at the finish line. So in order to embrace the journey, slow down and take in more cues, take in more signals by the essence of slowing the journey and not rushing it, not wanting to rush to the finish line. I very much relate this to my karate journey, whereas you can sort of chase the stripes or chase the belts and get carried up on your identity associated with the belt. However, what's the most fulfilling part of the karate journey is in between the belts, is that journey, the injuries that you need to navigate, the setbacks, the hardships of having to front up or to train when you're not feeling like training. And so it's that whole journey in between the grades that's really the most fulfilling part of actually achieving that grade or the next grade. And so I've really learnt in my karate journey to embrace the in between, to embrace the transformation. And this is often referred to as no longer. So I'm no longer that old belt, but I'm not yet the new belt. I'm in between, embracing the in between, embracing that as the most fulfilling part. And the only way we can do that is engaging with the journey. When we're engaging with the journey, when we're more present and we're more aware and we accept that it's a journey. So we're not looking to put the accelerator down and get to the finish line faster. I enjoyed my bike ride so much more than what I would have if I had driven the same pathway. I just saw so much more. And it was like traveling through a new country. Yeah, yet it's in my backyard. And so we can actually enjoy so much more of our surroundings by just slowing down, by taking a different path and taking that path slower and not just seeing everything as a destination or an outcome. So I hope this helps in terms of your journey, in terms of where you're currently at and where you're going. Really embrace that in between, that becoming, that transformation of yourself. That's the most fulfilling part. And when we do that, we become more present, more aware, and the overall journey is more fulfilling as opposed to thinking everything's just a grind. It's just the rat race. It's just so much but embrace the rat race, embrace the grind, and you'll find that it's more enjoyable. You'll see the joy amongst the hardship or amongst the difficulty. You'll find the joy, you'll find the happiness, you'll find the fulfillment by slowing down. When we rush, we're blinded. We're just wanting the outcome. And so when we haven't got the outcome, we feel unfulfilled. We feel empty. We feel there's a void, but there's not. The fulfillment is there in the transformation. So stay in the process, enjoy the process, embrace it for what it is, and go on the journey of life. It's a constant state of transformation, a never ending state of transformation. So that's it for this weekly insight of the Joyful Mate podcast. Continue to listen, continue to share it with others that you believe that will benefit from hearing this message. Those that are feeling a bit stuck, those that are not embracing life for what it is. It's simply a need to slow down and to take more awareness in, to be more present, to take more information in, and to find the other side of what you're not seeing, because it's there in the moment. We're just rushing and just focused on one side, and that's often outcomes. We want to embrace the wholeness of the journey. which has two sides at all times throughout the journey. So thanks for listening, and tune in, or continue to tune in, to the Joyful Mate podcast.